Put me in backstage when you do intro. I think that's what you normally do anyway.
I know we live now.
No. You just have to go inside and you find something that makes you happy, whatever that is, and you just let it out.
But improving to greater than 6 miles on Friday morning.
Stars shining bright above me. Night breezes seem to whisper sycamore tree. Dream a little dream Night breezes seem to whisper Dream a little dreamer.
You know, you can be able to hear me speaking with my brother, Mike Seville. All right.
The brother got 1,000 things going on behind screens. He's a superstar now.
We just doing a little bit. Just doing a little bit. Yes,
Reached that 1,000 following mark on TikTok within it was less than a month. You've been grinding.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Grinding.
That's right.
Lots of content, putting out lots of stuff. I'm excited for you. I know you're excited because you're calling me late at night to give it to let me know about your goals and where you've reached. And I'm excited about it, man. It definitely brings joy to me to see you moving in the direction you're moving in. Last week you showed up with the mic. This week your camera's looking crispy.
Yeah.
The TV behind you. I mean, things are moving up. Like, I appreciate you allowing me to share this platform with you.
I appreciate you.
I appreciate you. Starbucks got to pay us. Starbucks. I'll be waiting on the phone
Starbucks
call.
What's up?
561-412-5433. We will accept all sponsorships. Get us while we cheap, man. Let me not even say while we're cheap. Get us while the value, you get a good bang for your buck.
Right. The value right now is
get us while you're putting in, you're getting high value stuff. Get us now, I'm telling you. Because there's gonna come a point, people. There's gonna come a point. I'm talking to you. Okay, cool. Listen, so how was your week? First off, let's get started with that. Let's get started with the week. How was our weeks?
So first off, the week was amazing, and I'm talking over here to my peeps in the TikTok world, as well as y'all out there in YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn. So things are just going amazing, you know. They're going amazing because what is happening right now is that you all out there in the TikTok world helped me to reach 1,000, and I'm doing wonderful. Hey, Womanhood, hello, how you doing? It's going to be a great show tonight. I hope you just join on in, stay on in here. It's going to be a great thing. So listen, we are just moving. There's plenty of leads going on, brother. The week's been great. My mother, I told her, just like you had asked me to, wished her well and whatnot. Thank you, Womanhood, for the congrats. Appreciate you. You know, I thank you there, brother. You sent the prayers, and your cousin sent the prayers. My mother went through her surgery, and she's doing wonderful.
Awesome.
So,
glad to hear.
Yeah, man. And also the birthday wishes that y'all sent. What was that, 2 weeks ago? I think it was. Yeah, man. We had a good time. Where do we take her out to? Cooper's Hawk. What's up?
Oh yeah, I have a membership at Cooper's Hawk.
Yeah, hey, Cooper's Hawk is legit. If y'all want to get on some good food, head on down to Cooper's Hawk. I'll see if I can get you the name. I think his name was Jimmy, but you all want to check out Jimmy, because for real, this guy was like, he was the man for us. I got this flower downstairs. I had planned to take my wife out there a while ago, brother. And when I took her out there, whoever was taking the order, they forgot the flowers. So Jimmy came up and he's like, "Oh, what happened? What happened?" I'm like, "Hey, listen, this is what happened. I mentioned that I wanted to have flowers." He's like, "Well, we don't really do flowers." Like, "Well, nobody told me that you don't do flowers. So what do I do about that?" He's like, "Don't you worry about a thing. I will get you something. I'll take care of you." And so later, this guy shows up, right? And he shows up. He went somewhere out into storage or something, and he shows up with sunflowers. They're not real, but they're sunflowers, and he puts them in the vase and everything. He brings them out, and he's like, "Happy anniversary." I'm like, that's legit.
Yeah, that's good service. That's good service. I love it. Been doing the wine tastings there for a couple years now. Definitely became a member years ago. No, about 2 years ago. So I enjoy Cooper's Hawk. Excellent service. Definitely some great food, a huge selection of food. So that's what I go out there for, out in Garden. So shouts out to Cooper's Hawk. Also looking for you all to go on and give me that membership for free. How about
that? Pass that membership on, brother. Looking for the membership for free. Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
That's value. That's value. My week, wow, definitely been busy. Lots of scheduling, lots of consultations with buyers, etc. Got a couple buyers going to get approved. Actually, got a couple approved already, and just planning out, definitely getting ready for the first Q1 of next year. I guess one of the biggest, changes of the week for me. I guess it was big and it wasn't so big because I'm not really huge like that on consuming a lot of content. I go on to social media for a reason. Was Facebook disabled my account? I've been with Facebook for almost close to 10 years now, because we're 2021. So maybe about 2009, 10, something like that, got on Facebook officially, and they disabled my account for whatever reason. So it was gone for about two days. And the thing is, you can't call anybody. There's no email addresses to drop. They don't want to hear nothing. They're going to do whatever it is that they have to do to figure out whether or not they're going to let you back on the platform. So that was interesting. I can't really say that. The only thing that I miss from it is I get a lot of messages. I do a lot of business on the marketplace. So I miss dealing with that. Messenger, I have a group message that I normally tune into every day. But other than that, and then I do my quote of the day. But it didn't hurt me.
What was your quote of today? What's the quote of today?
The quote of today, it came from Nietzsche. And
who?
Nietzsche. Friedrich
Nietzsche.
Yeah,
quote of the day comes from Nietzsche.
Friedrich Nietzsche. And what I do is, in order to find the quote, is I look for the person's birthday. So whoever's birthday is today, and I go down in the morning, I look, and then anything that resonates with me. So Nietzsche said, "The doer alone learneth."
The doer alone learneth.
Right. So essentially what that means to me is that you got to get in the game. You got to get in the
That's
game.
what it means, brother?
Yeah, you got to get in the game. You can go on YouTube and Google. You can Google push-ups, and they'll tell you it'll tell you what to do. You can go on YouTube and look up how to and see someone actually perform the push-up. But until you get down there and do the push-up,
right,
you haven't learned anything. You're not a practitioner. So definitely being the practitioner is where it's at, which goes along with a lot of the teachings I've been learning from my coaches this week. Was like, you just got to get in the game. We spoke about it a little bit earlier before we got on this live in regards to having to put that time in. I mean, because right now it takes us probably, a couple. It took us about an hour or so to get this live ready, right? Like we were really working on it. And then I said, in 6 months, we'll be able to jump on 5 minutes prior to the live and be ready to go, technically speaking. Now we were a minute late because we're still trying to get some technical things together. Like he couldn't hear me. But we got it going and we're here, man. Listen, Community Beacon people, Community Beacon. Here it is.
Let's go.
Yeah, here to enlighten everyone. For those of you who are with us last week, we were talking about getting grounded. We were talking about essentially preparing your grounds for whatever it is that you would like to, where we're headed in life. And a lot of this, and what we mean by grounding or getting grounded or preparing the ground is preparing essentially that mindset. And I think it goes beyond mindset. It also goes physically as well. Because one thing that we also spoke about today was we crashed today. Well, I know I did. I crashed today at about 12:30 to 1:30. I've been going tough. Like I'm up at 4 o'clock on the 3:57, 3:55 is when my alarm.
3:57. You changed your time?
Yeah. 3:57, 3:55 is when the alarm goes off. I used to say I needed 5 minutes. I don't even need the 5 minutes anymore. And sometimes I'm up prior to that. I'm just up. And so, just preparing to get ready for the day. And if I feel tired, I'll go back to sleep if I have to. But oftentimes I need to be up and going. And so this goes on for, definitely starts on Monday through Friday. I'm up. Whether or not I'm leaving the house, I'm preparing for my day and then getting ready. Then, of course, both the brother and I are hitting the gym, getting physically fit because, we want to be prepared. We're going to have a grueling schedule. I can see it. But we're flying here. We're flying there. We're going to have to, we're going to be doing business here, doing business there. We'll be doing business with people in Japan and China.
That's right.
They're 12 hours on the other side of us. So we're going to have to do business here, do business there. So we're going to need that energy. A lot of that comes with preparing your body for it. You can't, and what you intake as well. You can't be eating crazy. You definitely need to get some cardio in, get some strength training in. Let's get prepared for what's going on next. That's part of the grounding process as well. Getting that body and that mind prepared for what we're heading on to next. And of course, the brother definitely will talk to you about mentally and spiritually being prepared for what's to be come, what's about to come, right?
That's it, man. That's it. And I'm with you on all of those fronts because it's about mind, body, soul, spirit. It's about all four of those fronts, when it comes down to it. I definitely believe there's plenty of people out here that are grounded in some way, shape, or form in one of those places in their life. And then there's some people that aren't grounded in any of them, So, getting through to it is really important. So this is where we left off. Yes, last time, right? We went down self-awareness as being number one. Self-awareness being number one. And then acceptance being number 2, knowledge being number 3, purpose being number 4, and intentionalism is where we left off. Intentionalism. That's where we left off.
I thought we kind of spoke on it, but let me get this thing prepared. Go ahead, brother.
No. That's where that was the last thing we spoke of. No, you're absolutely right.
So we're on to consistency is my assumption, right? Are we consistent?
What's that?
Are we the next thing is consistency?
After we went from intentionalism, then I think that what we need to go to is willpower. Actually, willpower is where we need to be at. Willpower.
This is gonna be interesting to me. I got a couple ideas of my thoughts about willpower. Go ahead, brother. Break it down.
Well, no, it's all good, But the thing is like, so when we left off on intentionalism, and I think that's a really big one. You all out there, check out my check out either Mike's or my YouTube, and you'll see there's one episode. We take about an hour on that thing that's just labeled intentional, right? Because intentionalism is so important. So, but not to go backwards into intentionalism, but the thing is like what you're looking for once you have the thought process to start becoming intentional, just what Mike was just talking about. In the morning when he gets up, he's going to get ready. He's going to do whether it's his meditation or whether it's his prayer or whether it's reading that specific scripture or that specific quote, whatever it is. Intentionalism is setting the mind. That's what you do the night before so that in the morning you are all ready to do. So like this morning, This morning I was out. I did. I would have put it up. I would have posted it, but I got blocked off of TikTok. One day I got blocked because I was putting on there me skateboard and everything, because that's something I do. It is what it is. You know, the brother just finished telling y'all that we like to work out, so it is what it is. So I got up, you know, what was it, like 5 o'clock in the morning to meet my boy Wesley, and I met him down. We crossed over Singer Island Bridge, and we met down there, and the intended idea was for us to go ahead and for us to skateboard. So we went out there. I grabbed my skateboard. I grabbed the board. We went out there, and he's like, "Oh, we're gonna go up the hill." I'm like, "No, man, we're not gonna go up the hill. We're gonna go down by the boardwalk," because in my mind, I intentionally wanted to get to this specific location where you go in between some buildings. It looks like a place that if you were in New York, you'd be like, "I ain't going down the alleyway," that type of thing. And we want to go down there, but it breaks open, and there's an opening that crosses over onto the bridge underneath like a canopy, and it is the perfect place to catch the sunrise. We're on the East Coast. So this was my intention. Now, the next thing that came about, in order for your intentionalism to be at its greatest, you have to have willpower. So just like the brother, you know, he was talking about, sometimes you'll go back to sleep. Like sometimes I've gone back to sleep. You know, I intend to get up every morning at 5 o'clock, but sometimes I'll hit that snooze button because I'm still working through it. There was a point in time when every single time I got up in the morning, boom, I just got up because my intention was so much to get up that I utilized willpower. Get up out of that bed. I don't care if you're asleep. I don't care, whatever it is, you know? And sometimes we use different types of techniques. Like right now, what I'll do is, because I'm not down for the 1000% cold shower, but I'll get in a shower, a warm shower, I'll wash, and then I'll turn it to cold. And I'll finish my shower in the cold. So, you know, doing one of them types of numbers. But I'm getting my cold shower in, because when you take that cold shower, it like changes what's happening inside of the body. So now what's going on is, you know, all your cells are bumping up against each other. They're moving and crazy like that. And so now your body is waking up. And when it starts to wake up, it gives you greater willpower. So creating different avenues to have better willpower is what all of us need to do. Maybe you need to get that cup of coffee. So if you plan on getting up in the morning to do whatever it is, then go get a coffee machine. Like, don't tell me I don't have the money. I don't go along with that. Tell me how I can get the money. That's what I want to know. Don't tell me you don't have the money. Tell me how you can get the money, because everybody can get enough money to go to McDonald's, go to Wendy's, or go to any other place and get a hamburger that may give them clogged arteries. So tell me how you can get the money to purchase something that will help you to be the best you possible. Get the coffee machine. Set the timer on it. Don't get the cheap one. Get the one where you can set the timer on it. Set the timer on it so that if you just get up out of the bed, you'll smell the coffee brewing and go downstairs, get yourself a cup of coffee, because you have got to practice your intentionalism. This is how we're going to benefit from the ideas that we have. You know, you got your self-awareness. You know you can't do X, Y, Z. You know you're not good at it, and you want to do it. You want to lose weight. You want to, whatever it is. You got to start taking action. Utilize it. Willpower fires intentionalism.
I'm in agreement. It has to start with somewhere, and so it definitely does start with the willpower. I will listen, totally in alignment and agreement with that. And then what happens is that you start to, from that willpower, it starts to go into discipline. The willpower is going to turn into discipline, and the discipline is what's going to take you over through the long haul of it, because that discipline is going to get you to the habit. But at the beginning, like the brother says, is once you're intentional about it, because the intention is you're setting it out there. It's not an actual, it's not the doing. You're not doing it. You're intentionally, you're gearing towards doing it. You're putting your sights on it. That's where the intentional part is. And then it goes into that willpower. Now the willpower is going to take you to the discipline, because it's willpower and then there's discipline. And the discipline is what's because we have a finite amount of willpower available to us. There's a finite, because after a while you get burnt out when you're just trying to will your way through. You will your way through when you have to, but essentially you want it to become disciplined. You want to have this disciplined action, and in the morning. Let me tell you something. That getting up in the morning is gonna be what separates you from anything else. I can't, because most people will not even put forth that initial willpower to start to begin to have the discipline to do it.
Right.
A million excuses. I've heard them all. I'm an insomniac. I'm not a morning person is a favorite of mine. Listen, I've been getting up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning for close to 10 years now. It's been a long time. I have never enjoyed getting up in the morning. But from the outside looking in, a person would say, man, this guy got to be a morning person. Trust me, the first 30, 45 minutes, I don't want to have conversations. Like, I just want to get through my morning routine. And 45 minutes in, then we can be like, okay, all is starting to become right with the world. But the first
that's what it takes, huh?
Right. It takes time, but it's just something. But now that it's become a habit and discipline, and I'm disciplined towards it, if I don't do it, it doesn't feel right. And that's where you want to get to. You want to get to the point where if I don't do it, it doesn't feel right. So we go from that. Yeah. You go from that. You go but that willpower essentially is going to get you to get that thing in your mind to make that decision to say, you know what? I need to get up. I can't hit the snooze this time. You know what I mean? And just jump out. One of the things that helped me out when I initially started was Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins said, don't think about it. Tony Robbins said, just jump out the bed. Just jump out the bed and start moving your feet. The cold
Tony
shower,
Robinson or Tony Robbins?
Tony Robbins.
Yeah.
Just jump.
Now that's the dude that I picked up from him, the coldness.
Because
in all of his properties, he has a very narrow bathtub.
Yeah.
In all his properties. Y'all check out some of his stuff. Crazy stuff. So the dude is like 6 foot something tall.
Yeah,
he's
6,
huge.
7, 6, yeah, he's a big guy.
And he's thick. He's huge. And he's big, busting out his shirt. So this guy has made like a 3x3 bath that stays at like 54 degrees Fahrenheit. And what he does is he gets up, walks out, goes outside, and he jumps into that thing. Whoosh.
You're awake.
Submerged.
You're
this is
awake.
what he does.
You're awake. You are awake after that plunge. But yeah, so Tony Robbins said, just jump up. Don't think about it. And I can almost imagine himself, like you said, he's an older guy now. Tony Robbins got to be, late 60s, 70s, something like that. Has a grueling schedule. So, I can just imagine him jumping up, just tired, just marching over there on some days and just jumping into it and say, okay, boom, it's time to get our day started. And he actually lives in Manalapan, so he's right around the corner from us here in Palm Beach County. So yeah, and I think he used to have a Netflix special. I'm not sure if it's on there. It's called "I'm Not Your Guru," and that was an excellent special that he had. I watched that a couple years back. Yeah, so
it's called "I'm Not Your What?"
I'm Not Your Guru.
I'm not your guru.
I'm not your guru, and he does a bunch, especially in West Palm. Like I said, he's in Manalapan, so he has a couple of different events that he does at the convention center. Awaken the Giant. I've never been to one. Beethoven's actually been to one. I think he went to one in Dallas, and he I can never forget. I saw his stories on Instagram, and I saw him at the Tony. He was taping on the Tony Robbins. I said, what is Beethoven doing? He just didn't strike me. I didn't think Beethoven would go to the Tony Robbins thing, but he was there. So that was awesome. You know what I mean? I think anybody who believes in growth, etc., are going to do things to get them outside of their comfort zone. And I think one of the things he has is that firewalk. That's one of the things he's really known for, is to walk on those hot coals. And so, you know, he gets people walking those hot coals barefoot. You know, it's a mind thing. These coals are going to burn your feet. And so you got to go on. You got to just keep moving, essentially. So I think that'll probably be on one of my bucket lists, is to attend one of his conferences that he has, especially before he retires. Like I said, he's getting older, and this guy's on the road 300 days a year. He's on the road 300 days a year.
Hey, listen, brother. Forget a bucket list. Let's do it next year.
You said it.
I'm with it.
I'm with it. We put if you want to do, let's get it done. It definitely seems exciting. Had a lot of people go through it, so it'll be enjoyable. So that was, I don't want to linger too long on willpower. It's just something you have to pull up out of you. And so so let's talk about, in regards to willpower, since just to get people to understanding of it for you. Like, where do you find it? Like, where do you find the willpower? A lot of people would like to do these things. They don't do it because they can't access their willpower. How do you access your willpower?
Hey, man. Well, I mean, first of all, mine comes from within. Everything is within. I'm passion driven. So for me, you know, there's this passion, this burning passion to do what I do. That's what it is. It wakes me up every morning. I think about it. I'm always on it because it's passion driven. Now, what are some of the steps that I use? And I've talked about this before. You know, it's very simple. PAM management. That's it. You know, I project something into my life and then I act on it. And I continue to act on it until it manifests. So whatever it takes, you know, like you were just talking about earlier, you know, the upgrades. I watch the upgrades in your shows too. You know, we go back and look at your shows. There was a different color wall in the background, you know. Then it turned blue. Then next thing you know, there was a microphone and there was a TV. Next thing you know, there was, you know, a bookshelf. And then you had this picture of the little baby boy, Paul. He was cycling in the background. Then you had another little weekly planner, a board that you were putting up there. And now you got the stuff from Star Wars. And it's like every single day, you have to be thinking about what you want to produce, what you want to be seen. So then there's other things like, you know, your physique, what you do for your physique, the nutrition you take on. So I'm the same way, man. You know, there's certain things that I have a desire that I want to do. So what do? I project them. Then I write them down. I got my weekly planner here sitting right in front of me. I write down what I'm going to do. I got notes all over the place. Y'all in the TikTok world, y'all remember I told you about Habakkuk 2:2. Write the vision, make it plain upon the tables, so he that readeth may run. I'm the one who's trying to run, so I write it in a way that I can understand. And then after that, I follow it. You know, I got something I want to share with somebody, with y'all later on. But it was, how's that thing go? I saw it. It was like a vision when written down becomes a goal. Oh no, a dream when written down becomes a goal. A goal when actualized and worked upon becomes manifested. Something like that. I'm messing up the end of it. Y'all forgive me. But all in all, it's like we all got dreams. But once you start writing those dreams down, they become goals. And once you start acting on those goals, they become reality.
I love
That's me. That's how I do it.
I love it. On my side, let me, besides everything that you mentioned, a lot of the things that, being passion driven, you have to find your passion, like the brother spoke about. So, because once you find your passion, life starts to get a lot easier. Accomplishing your goals start to become more easier, more accessible. So accessing your passion is important. Another way for your to work on your willpower that goes along with passion, kind of, it's kind of similar, is you're accessing your why. Like you need to figure out what your why is. You know, when I initially started, matter of fact, I'm gonna tell you what, I know when I started. It was right around the time Elijah was being born. So I had this new young baby that was here. And I said, I want more for this baby than what I had. And my mother did an excellent job, but I want more for this baby than even more so what I have. And I want to provide as much as I can. I want him to look back and say, hey, my father did it, left it all on the line. So a part of that was, okay, I was working for the city at the time when he was born, but I knew there was a cap, and I knew I wanted to go beyond whatever that cap was with the city. So I said, okay, I need to start figuring out different ways of me to get to where I want to go. So initially, it wasn't even about that, being passionate about my new job, and which ended up being real estate. It was about finding out what it was that I wanted so that I can give everything to my son. It was a legacy play. Some of the things that you all can do, some actual practical and tangible, if it sounds like we're speaking esoterically. A lot of you haven't even gotten to the point where you can think about passion. A lot of places people can't even imagine your why. So just some straight, tangible, logical things that probably would have worked if you told me this back in the day. Number one is to get an accountability partner. Just someone to be accountable for you. Hey, we're both going to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning. We don't know why we're waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning. We don't necessarily have that why or that passion or that thing that we're looking to get to. But we just know that I saw, well, you know, what is it? Success leaves clues. We know that most successful people get up at 4 or 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning. You know, they're up before everybody else. So we just want to mimic that. So get someone else who's willing to do that with you and who's responsible as well. And hopefully you all can do it long enough for either one of you to actually develop that habit, develop that discipline. The second thing, accountability. If you can't find someone else in your circle, this is when you need to go get a coach. Your coach will get you, hey, coach, you know, when you go through that conversation with them, I'm sure, what are some of the things that you want to do? I want to start getting up early to be successful. Or he or she might tell you to get up and you need to get up early to be successful. You got people who are sleeping till 9, 10 o'clock, which is unfathomable to me. But there was a time when I was doing that, getting up at 9, 10 o'clock on Saturdays and Sundays, you know, 11, 12 o'clock on Saturdays and Sundays, whatever the case may be. So if you don't have this in your immediate circle, because at times that was me, you may need to spend money on a coach. And then there's a Bible verse, and brother, I'm sure you know what it was, like, because I can't tell you exactly what it was. But it basically was like where you put your riches or where you put your money is where your heart is, you know. So if a lot of people value money, you know what I mean. And some people have. I would even go as far as to say that you have a negative association with money. You value money more than it should be valued, which is what it is. I'm not here to tell you. I'm not here to flip that on you. That's a lot more work you need to do. But if you value money at the utmost, at like one point I did. So for me, it was when getting in shape was I'm paying $50 a month to go to the gym. I'm going to use it because I'm paying $50 to go to the gym. It was it started off as this money thing. Like, man, I'm spending $50. I need to utilize it. And then eventually it was just like, I'm going because I'm disciplined, and I separated the money from the actual going to the gym and being disciplined for it. But that was a part of me getting into the gym, and because you don't see the results right away. Like, you know, most people go to the gym, you're going to need, you know, a good 8 to 12 weeks to actually start to see some kind of results. But for me, it was just, I started off the money. I used the money to get me in there and to continue going. And people back then could tell you, like, listen, I pay $50. I'm going to be here every day, drinking their water, soaking up their AC, lifting their weights, playing back, you know, et cetera, et cetera. So that I just wanted to get that out in regards to people who have to make it these logical steps if they feel like we're kind of out there speaking about passion and why. Because there was a point in time when a lot of this stuff was like I couldn't even understand. I thought it was just some foo-foo stuff. You know what I mean? It was just like, what are these people talking about? You know what I mean? These people are one guy named them earthy. They're earthy. I don't know if I want to be around these earthy people, but you know, so that's where I did. I hope you all got some tangible from that. So we go from willpower, you know, accessing that, And then we go to where, brother?
I'm putting this in the chat, so if you can go ahead and throw that out there for the people that want it.
Okay.
Matthew 6:19 through 21.
Yeah, you got it. You
So
got
they
it.
can go ahead and get that. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. You know. So, and I think that was a big one. I love it that you put that out there. Matthew 6:19 through 21. Lay not up for yourselves treasures upon the earth where moth and rust don't corrupt, but where thieves break through and steal. But lay up for yourselves treasure in heaven where neither moth nor rust doth corrupt, and where thieves do not break through nor steal. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. I think that's a powerful statement. I know that you basically use the 21st verse, but and you can switch it from willpower and put in the next one that you had, discipline and dedication, because that's really where we are. Discipline and dedication. That's that next step, step 7, discipline and dedication. But that's the thing about it, y'all. I think that's a powerful statement. Sometimes people, they look at that and they're like, oh, okay, well, this is what it means. It means that, we have to be heavenly minded. And I would say to you, absolutely, you should be heavenly minded. I think that's the best type of mind to have.
Discipline and what, brother?
Discipline and dedication. Hand in hand, So I think that's exactly what you should be doing. You should be, you should be heavenly minded, and there's 4 different planes of a man, the soul, spirit, and then the mind, and then also your strength. And those 4 different planes have to work together in every way, shape, and form. So once you have your mind together, you're able to control the body. That's a big thing right there, So discipline is controlling the body, and dedication is doing it consistently. That's intentionalism. These are like subcategories of intentionalism. And then there are also extended categories of intentionalism, because intentionalism is just like one of those things that comes before and it is apparent after.
Enduring.
What's that?
Enduring.
Yeah. So, okay. So then the next thing, the next thing would just be a minor step above that, which is consistency, right? And that dedication just leads us right into that consistency. Now, remember, the overall subject that we are talking about, right, brother, is getting your ground prepared.
Right.
These are steps that will help an individual to have a better, more consistent life. This is a mind shift type of application that will help you to have a better life. We split it up into 2 different categories. So I hope that we're not losing anybody in that by being on the tail end of this thing. But consistency has to be developed, and I like the way that you said that just a minute ago, Mike, when you were talking about, get yourself a buddy. And that's what it takes sometimes. Even in the 12-step program for Alcoholics Anonymous, they use that type of system. As soon as you come into a group, you are buddied with somebody who has successfully gone through certain points of sobriety. And so I think that is a major point that needs to be considered. So when we take down those few steps that Mike was talking about, to take it to an even higher level, right? So first off, if you find somebody that has the same passion as you, like Mike and I have the same passion, then the 2 of us will be here consistently on for the Community Beacon at 6:30 every Friday. Now, to take that to a higher level, then Mike has a mentor, I have a mentor that we lean on, because they have already done whatever it is we are attempting to do, or whatever we're in the process of doing. And those individuals are able to consistently feed us with more than what we have. More knowledge, more understanding, more wisdom. They have a well that is deeper than our well. So you need to find somebody along the way that has a deeper well that is a part of your passion.
Yep.
Somebody you should be looking for.
Yeah.
And that individual, and listen, you don't even have to be in you don't even if that individual is the type of person that produces content that gives this thing out freely, you don't always have to become buddy with them. However, if you can, it's suggested, because they can hone in on some of the things that you may be going through. This will help you to develop consistency. So Mike also put out there the word coach. So for me, I like to work out. I'm very busy right now. So I went out and I hired me a physical trainer, And I used to be one of those guys that walked into the gym and I was like, I ain't never hiring no physical trainer. You ain't gonna see me over there with somebody telling me what to do. Like I don't know how to lift weights. I can do that myself. I can do that myself. I know how to do this, But then I began to realize when I realized that I was being a coach for somebody else, and that I was helping somebody else, and that I was benefiting somebody else, and some of that was even from Mike and from my wife and who was that? Remember our teacher back in the day, a decade ago, Eusebius. Yeah. Shout out to Eusebius, right?
Yeah.
He was like, man, whenever you get it together, don't forget about me. And it was like all of these little things just started popping up in my mind. And so I began to understand that there is somebody who knows how to do what I want to do better than me. So why not find that individual and glean as much as possible, learn. Because then, like Mike said about three or four shows ago, if you link up with me with some of the stuff, with the things that I'm good at, I can get you to your destination a lot faster than if you do it by yourself. If you link up with Mike with the things that he's good at, he can get you to your destination a lot quicker than you can. Not because we're taking shortcuts, but because we know the pathway.
Right.
That's the difference. You looking for shortcuts. And all you do is you like the Flintstones. Every time you get a shortcut, Wilma used to say, how come every time we get a shortcut, it takes longer to get to the destination?
You will. And I can answer a couple of those things. Number one is pride, especially if we're talking about the male. I found that women tend to ask for help more than men do. And I don't want to make this a women versus men. It's just been my experience of this happening. And there's a lot of pride involved because I've had it. I've had the pride, like you said, walking into the gym and saying, I'll never pay another grown man to tell me what to do. I played football. I know how to lift and et cetera and work weights. But when it came down to it, I needed someone to help me. Shouts out to Thurlow, my first coach in regards to Officer Thurlow. Shouts out to him when I was working at the center, and he put me on how to eat first, and definitely used to put a whole schedule together for my workouts. So shouts out to him and what he provided. But I needed someone to help me. Shouts out to Thurlow, my first coach. I love hearing my voice while I'm talking. But I need it, and there's a lot of people. You bring this up, but there's a lot of people I see who are attempting to do it on their own, and instead of spending the money because of this ego / pride driven nature, and going about doing the same thing. Listen, your best thinking got you to where you are. Your best thinking. Nobody says, you know what, this is my worst idea ever. Let's do it. You know what I mean? Like we always say, like this has to work. This is our best thinking. So our best thinking got us to the place of which we are. So if that's the case, and you're not happy with where you are, you have nobody to blame but yourself. But there is a way, and the way is the only shortcut, as far as I'm concerned, in this case, is to have someone who has already been through that path and kind of guide you through some of the pitfalls. Like, hey, don't do that, because there's a lot of pitfalls, especially, and we spoke about this before in earlier episodes. to where there's so much information. There's so much information available, and there's a lot of bad information out there, just as much as there is good information. There's someone out there that's giving great information, but there's a lot of bad information out there as well. And you're gonna and I don't want to see a lot of people go through that because you don't know where it's gonna land you. So definitely, if you and most of you can't afford not to. A lot of people can't afford not to because we only have a finite amount of time. Oh, actually, listen, go get The Greatest Salesman. That's one of the books that we're reading in one of my programs, The Greatest Salesman. And so the first scroll, it talks about this. Like, we don't have time to go through all of the to try to do it ourselves. Or actually, we can, but we're not going to be as efficient and as successful as we can be. We want to get to the nitty gritty. We want to get to what's going to actually move that dial. So, so definitely try to shortcut it as much as possible, but you can't afford not to, man. Opportunity costs. A lot of us tend to not think about those.
Yeah, and like getting with a coach is, it's not a shortcut. It's actually a direct cut. So there's a saying, right? And I believe this is what we're getting at, right, Mike? Is that when you start talking about how far is it to a location, you check out Google. Google's like, oh, it's about 10 miles. 10 miles. You say, well, which way you have me traveling? And Google tells you, go down I-95, it's 10 miles. Then you look at a different one, and it says, go down State Road 7 or Route 1, and it's going to take you 11 miles. And you go to the Turnpike, and it says it's going to take you 9 miles, and it's the quickest route. But there's an old saying that comes from back in the days when people used to, work fields, and it says, and they would say something like, it's about 8 miles as the crow flies. So when you get a coach, you're going as fast, you're going in a direction as the crow flies. It's just a beeline. That's right. It. That's the difference. That's what we're getting at. That's exactly what we're getting at. You can take those shortcuts if you want, but if I was you, go as the crow flies.
That sounded so old timey.
Don't you start getting on me again?
I feel like I'm on the porch with some iced tea in the hot sun. And we talking about it, and someone asked for directions. Awesome. So definitely. So I think that we're kind of going to consistency. I kind of think we kind of went through some of the modeling aspect of it too. We kind of started to brush up on that. I'm not sure if that was the next thing that we were going to talk about, but I think we kind of brushed up on that in regards to hiring a coach, because essentially the coach should be the model before you. Now here's one thing though that I got to say. With all these business coaches, there's more business coaches than people with businesses, is what I like to say. So you definitely want someone who you kind of knows what they're doing. I'm not necessarily just saying business coaches, but any kind of coaches, life coaches. I saw a 20-year-old life coach. And not to discount this person. I mean, I'm not discounting because I'm not saying who it is, but there's not much experience in your first 20 years of life, so to speak. Like you got to kind of go. And I'm not saying this person didn't go through some things, but for a 20-year-old person, and there are some people who are ahead of their time, but I'm not going to a 20-year-old life coach. It is what it is. It just, he would have to show me something extra special. Maybe he has something like a lot more emotional intelligence than most people, because that's something that you can gauge at a younger age. But in regards to starting to hit those bumps in life, the 20 to 30 is a serious time. Of course, I'm only I'm a little less than 40, but 20 to 30, there was such a huge difference in my life, and it seems to be like every 5 years there's some type of huge change where I'm no longer the same person. I think this should be for everybody. But I don't necessarily think everybody has growth like that. But every 5 years, when you look back, I feel like there should be some kind of change. So for you to take something from a 20-year-old Like, I don't understand what you would model with that. But the modeling aspect of it, and one of the things that I alluded to before I actually said was success leaves clues. Success leaves clues. So you're going to, when you start to study successful people, you start to look at some autobiographies, you start to look at some documentaries that they co-sign as well. Not the Hollywood stuff, but stuff that's really true to life. You start to see some of the same things happen. And one thing I can honestly say is that hard work, it doesn't escape any of these successful people. Right. Every successful person is willing to put in the work. Right. You know, like there's no skipping it. At one point in time, I thought I could. Of course, it was like when I was in my 20s. I'm like, well, I could just I could backdoor this whole process. I could backdoor this whole process. Listen, even with the advent of the internet, which is probably the most technologically advanced thing ever, the internet, this web that we're on now, that gives us access to so much information. Even with the advent of that, you still have to put in the work.
Yes.
You still have to get out there. I'm in real estate. I personally don't know how they did it before. I'm so excited that I have this, I have this cell phone to where I can just look up stuff. I can do things on the fly. It's giving me the map directions, how to get to this area and get to that area. Like, I don't even know. I mean, before, I'm assuming you had to be extra prepared. You had to get in, map out where you wanted to go, make the phone calls. I remember my mentor used to tell me about this huge thing that they collected every week to get the listings, the houses that were on the market for the week. They would get it all on a Sunday, and it'd be this big file, and you had to go into the brokerage office, bring the file out, and then look through everything. Now, most people are going on Zillow. Us as realtors, we can just go on our phone. There's an app for that at this point in time. So even with this, there's still a lot of work to be done.
Yeah.
Still have to put in the time. You still, in order to become a professional. I'm not talking about regular people, at the average person. I'm talking about to be specialized and a professional in your field. You have to put in the work. Malcolm Gladwell talks about the 10,000 hours. You have to put in the time to be the professional. To be the professional, and I don't care what field. I don't care if you are sweeping, you're a janitor at a school. You have to put in the time to be the professional, to be the best janitor, to know exactly how this is going to be cleaned, to be efficient with the cleaning, and not mess up the substrate, not mess up the tile, not mess up the paint. You got to know what you're doing. And that takes time and that takes experience. And so if you can look to someone to model that, like Joel said, it's not a shortcut. It's a direct cut. It's a direct line to it. It's a straighter line. Excuse me. It's a straighter line to it. And so, that's my take on the modeling thing, trying to get that straighter line. But I've noticed that everybody who came before that's successful in any industry has put in the time.
I'm with you on that. And I would like to just, I want to put this out there. So in modeling, we have to understand, especially when, Mike was breaking down the age brackets, and the younger we are, especially for those out there in the TikTok world, because I have a lot of followers there that are like from age 13, I was amazed, but I'm grateful for them as well, especially in those younger ages from like 13 on up to 20, 21, we're modeling the wrong individuals. That's why we're talking about this groundwork right now, is because we're looking at somebody that may be, an artist or someone that may be in entertainment. I don't want to be so specific because we're not trying to cast a dark cloud on anybody.
I will. No, go ahead.
I don't want to do that right now, But the thing is, and sometimes we know it, sometimes we don't. Sometimes we know that individual is crude or rude or whatever, and we like it. That's just whatever. We like it. That's what we like, I don't like it like that anymore. But, I was once that age and I did like it at that point in time, you know. Um, and it doesn't mean that you can't end up being a decent individual, a decent civil individual later on in life. But you may go through hardship because you are modeling the wrong thing, you know. And sometimes that modeling turns into idolizing. We have to be even more careful because next thing you know, you want to do exactly what someone else did. My little boy the other day, I did something, I hugged my daughter or something like that. I don't remember what it was. My little boy tried to do the exact same thing because he was modeling me. She was not accepting that. Poor little guy. I wouldn't even known that he was truly modeling it. I mean, I was watching him and I understood it. But he said, "What? I just was doing exactly what Dad did."
He said it.
He said it. He said it, brother. He said it. So, at least he knows, which is I give him great deal. I give him a 1-up because that's self-awareness. He understands that he is attempting to be more like somebody. And I'm grateful that he wants to be more like me, because I feel as if, and I'm bold enough to say it, I feel as if I'm living a decent life. I may not be at the toppest level, but I feel like I'm definitely not, slouching or giving across a bad representation of what a man should be. Anyway, I don't want to go down that road.
I do at some point in time. So let's in that aspect, and because I was thinking about it, and I just want to put it out there, is that we definitely have to do a show on that. We definitely
I'm down with that. We definitely
have to do a show on that. Go ahead. Not to interrupt your thought.
No, you're all right. But you're right. We do need to do a show on that, and I want to get on my TikTok viewers because like I said, I got some 13s and up, that should hear about what it's like to become a man, and what it's like to carry yourself as a man. It's a huge thing. And so modeling is a very important factor because as a young man, and when I say young man, I'm talking about all the way down. I'm not calling them boys. As a young man, somebody who aspires to be a man or a great man, you have to find the right individuals. If you're looking out there for somebody, who's doing who in and out of jail, who's using different types of things to stimulate their mind, their body, all that different type of stuff, or who's rude or disgusting or terrorizing, you start to model those types of actions and you will end up making yourself into a monster. Yeah, there will be people that want to be friends with you, but at the end of the day, success is not going to be your greatest factor. On the other hand, now that's a con because you're modeling the wrong things. On the other hand, if you're modeling individuals that are successful, that are compassionate, that are driven, that are self-aware, that are focused, then these types of things will produce a lifestyle that you can live with and one that you can pass on to your children. So modeling is huge. And I would discourage people from modeling the wrong types of behaviors from the very beginning, because if you're doing that, then as we were talking about, getting your ground right, you're going to have polluted ground. And when you finally do get to the point where you want to get into a relationship, you are carrying all that pollution, all that baggage with you into a relationship. And what you will end up with, like I was saying before, is you're going to end up with somebody else that carries the same type of baggage, garbage. And when you finally, like Mike was talking about 5 years, I believe in 7 years, everyone has like a mind shift. All of the cells are reproducing and changing, dying, and being reborn. Everything in your body except for your brain cells are changed over 7 years. And so when you hit that 7-year mark, and all of a sudden you become a different individual, and you look over there at that person, You like, what on earth? Who are you? And they looking back at you like, what you talking about? Because you and I were just doing the same thing last year.
Let me tell you something, which begs the question that a person should ask themselves, because like, who are you modeling yourself after?
Yeah.
And then be honest with yourself.
Yeah.
Who are you modeling yourself after? Because a lot of these times, a lot of things we're doing and that's why when you said Jonah said he was doing what you did was definitely great for a young kid at that age to have that kind of awareness, because sometimes those kids end up just doing it, and then you're like, where'd you get that from, or what are you doing? And he was like, I don't know, because subconsciously he saw you do it, but he can't connect those two dots. What happens is a lot of us aren't being intentional. We're going back to that word intentional about who we're modeling. And so we just end up, we're just picking, and I had a bad habit of doing this when early in my 20s, 18, 17 to 22 or something like that. Because I grew up without a father in that aspect of having a father in the house, I started modeling how to be a man off of what I saw, whether it was TV or whether it was the other men, or it was men in the neighborhood, or whether it was friends of the family, whatever the case may be. That's how I would model it. And so I would see certain things, but I wouldn't see the entire thing. There's something about having a father or having that mother, which is your first teachers. Oh man, the brother cut off. Hopefully he'll come back shortly. There's something about having a father or a mother not being in the house, or actually being in the house, because you get to see a lot of the things that go unseen. You know, oftentimes if you grew up without a father in the house like I did, you would just see men at different clips, so to speak. You know what I mean? You see other men, for 3-4 hours at a time, if that. Your teachers who you would see at school, the men within the neighborhood, probably your uncle, probably your grandfather, etc. But you wouldn't get that full experience of the interaction of how a man acts within their house day in, day out, consistently. Because let's be honest, we all can put up a front for a little bit of time. I can be this person out in public for 2-3 hours, 4 hours, whatever the case may be, 8 hours. But over a long period of time, for hours at a time, we can essentially become, we're who we are. And for the kids to actually see that and then model that, hopefully it's a positive, a role model. But either way, you're going to be taking parts of that away. So that modeling thing is huge, and just in business, start picking up some of these autobiographies, business and in family. I'm starting to put together the standards and the procedures of how family act, how family should be, because what I've been seeing lately is people tend to play loosely on things. So so how do I figure out what is the best route to take? Well, I'm going to look at a lot of other successful families. I'm going to look up information on them. I'm going to see exactly how it is that they perform, who they are, or how they got their family to be what it was. Some of the things that they used. I'm going to take some of the good stuff. I'm going to throw away some of the stuff I don't need. And I'm going to put that all together. And I'm going to say, this is how the family structure is. So now this is something that I'll be teaching to the people who are closely aligned with me, and definitely to my sons, Paul and Elijah, so that they can start bringing these standards together. And it's not something that is set in stone. It should always be evolving and being refined. But essentially, that's where we want to go with it. So that was in regards to modeling. I'm going to go ahead and jump on to the next thing, and it's going to be focus. We're going to talk about focus. Listen, whoever has the best focus is the person that wins. I'm going to repeat it. Give me a second. Whoever has the best focus is the person that wins. What do you mean, Mike? Throughout the day, just a regular day, and you all can attest. I'm sure most of us can attest to this, especially now. You get a lot of interruptions. You get a lot of interruptions. And it's stated that it takes you 7 minutes to get back to whatever it is that you were doing. It takes 7 minutes to get back to whatever it is that you were doing. So that means every time that you have to take a phone call, every time you get a notification from social media, every time someone walks in and has something to say to you, those are probably some of the, every time if you're working from home or if you're home, every time a child comes in. So whatever it is that you are doing, it's going to take you 7 minutes to get back fully focused into whatever it was that you were doing. So if you're getting 4-5 interruptions an hour and you're supposed to be doing a set job, you're getting 4 or 5 interruptions an hour. That's what, 7 times, that's 35 minutes gone. That's 35 minutes from whatever you were doing gone. So in that hour, whatever you had planned to do for that hour, we're talking about you only have essentially 25 minutes left in order to finish the job or to be completely focused on what it is. And let's be honest. For those of us who have not gotten to the point of being able to time block, for those of us who aren't time blocking, and I was well into my 30s before I figured out the whole time blocking thing. If you're not time blocking, you're probably getting more notifications. And we're talking about we're talking about if you just immediately get back to what it is that you were doing. Most of us aren't. Most of us tend to go down a whole rabbit's hole. You get a notification from social media, you're gone for 5 to 7 minutes. At 5 minutes, you're going down this whole rabbit hole because this turns into this. Now you're searching for this. So now that 25 minutes gets cut even shorter. The brother's back.
All right.
Welcome
We're
back.
back home. Not sure exactly what happened there, but it shut me out. And not only did it shut me out, but it sent me into the background. I had to shut everything down.
Okay.
So I'm not sure exactly where you are at, brother. I just kept on talking to fans out there in the TikTok world. It looks like you're on focus right now.
Yeah, I'm going on focus, and I kind of was, and I said it started off with whoever is the most focused is the one that's going to win. The most focused person tends to become the most successful person. And I was explaining, this is prior to me time blocking, and now understanding the numbers between it. I'm a numbers guy. It takes you 7 minutes to focus back on whatever you were doing. So if I were to give you a task and you know that this task is going to take you an hour to complete, but you need to be, if you're totally focused on the task. But if we know that every interruption you get, it takes you 7 minutes to fully get back into the task. This isn't handling the interruption. This is just to get your mind back thinking about what it is that you're focused upon. So let's say you get 4 or 5 interruptions. Before I time block, this was me. If I were to get 4 or 5 interruptions, it could be a phone call. It could be a social media notification. It could be someone just coming in to interrupt, to have a conversation with me. Aside from the time, so if I get 5 of those happening within an hour, which is easily done, especially with your notifications on, text messages, phone calls, social media notifications, someone interrupting you. This can easily happen 5 times in an hour, easily. And if it takes you 7 minutes to get back on track, you essentially have given up 35 minutes of that hour. Because 5 times 7 is 35 minutes. So now you've only really been fully focused on that task for 25 minutes. For 25 minutes. And I'm not even talking about actually having the conversation with someone who comes in the room. I'm not actually talking about answering the text back and going back and forth through a text if that's what's going on. I'm not even talking about getting on social media and going down a rabbit's hole. One of the huge things that I people, Facebook, Instagram, whatever, turn off those notifications. Turn them off. I would turn them off completely. but at least I know there's buttons on here that you can press where you can actually have it turned off for that hour. So you put your phone on silent, turn off for that hour. Most things aren't emergencies. If there's an emergency, you're gonna find out quick and in a hurry. You know what I mean? I'm not telling you not to. If your kid is sick or something, these things happen, but these things aren't happening all the time. What's killing you are these other interruptions that you're having. So you're not as focused. So people say, "Oh man, Mike, I worked 8 to 10 hours yesterday," because they sat down at this desk for 8 to 10 hours. How many interruptions do you have? And now the phone even tells you. The phone will tell you how many interruptions you have from phone calls, how many notifications you got. It's telling, and I've seen it. And there was one time I was this person, and it wasn't that long ago. I was into my 30s before I kind of understood the concept of time blocking. And I'm gonna tell you what, when you're fully focused and you're getting up early and you're getting to it, you can essentially finish almost anything within like a 2 to 3 hour time span. Your day could essentially be over by 11, 12 o'clock, depending on what you're doing. There's so much things you can get done within that when you're fully focused on it. Now, one of the things that I do think that a person should do is while you're working, you should be intentional about breaking up that time. So maybe you work there's actually a thing, and I have to look it up, but I would break it. I wouldn't work for an hour straight on whatever it is, because sometimes you have to get out of the forest. So I would work for maybe 45 minutes, stand up, go take a walk, go get a drink of water or something, and then go sit back down and finish whatever you were doing for the next hour, for the next 15, 20 minutes, whatever it is. Like, kind of break it up that kind of way. But if you can sustain focus for an period of time and actually be consistent with it, you will be amazed at where you are within 3 months, 6 months, or whatever it is. You'll be amazed at how far you've gotten. So that was what I have to say about focus. What about you, brother? What say you?
I think that's perfect, because that was the same thing that I was just, when I was in that brief moment that I was gone, I was telling the people up there in the TikTok world, the next thing was actually autonomy, but the last one was being conscious, being in the area, in the zone, which is being focused. It's funny that we were on the same piece of information,
right?
Because for you all for parents, you come home from work and, you're just trying to unload and, whatever it is, and your children need you, that's the only time they have, shedding whatever it is that you're going through to be with them and be there in that moment, quality over quantity, because you can run through hours and get absolutely nothing done.
Yep.
But if you are present and in the moment, you're consciously there, you're noticing those things that have changed. And even if it's a short amount of time, the quality in that supersedes the quantity, and it lasts longer. I was in the Healthier Families Summit. Shout out to Leedy, who interviewed me there. And one of the things that we were discussing is, how can you be the most awesome dad? Well, one of the things that I do, because I don't always have the time, and honestly, it's by choice. Everything that we do is by choice. I don't allow anyone to box me in a corner and make me do something. There's no gun to my head, but I have to prioritize things. So I work creating this new business, and I have a side business also on top of that. But when I get with my kids, like just in a little bit, I'm gonna go downstairs, we're gonna eat something and watch a movie. Doesn't matter if I really want to watch a movie at this point in time. My focus is to be with my children and to enjoy my children, to see them smile, to see them laugh. That's my focus, to enjoy their presence. So for me, I want to be present. I don't just want to be there in the room and texting, and so it's important. This focus is important, and it applies to everything. Same thing with children, with young people. You know, if you want to get that grade, you want to get somebody off your back, and get the grade. Well, then take the time to focus on that work for a half hour or an hour. You can get so much done in that short amount of time, you know? And this creates a greater development within inside of your own mind. You know, brother, one of the things that's funny, you were mentioning about it, was that the iPhone just came out with a brand new update. And that update is called Focus. It's called a Focus update. And you can set as many focuses as you want. You can set a work focus, you can set a home focus, you can set a school focus, and you can put in there exactly what you want that can take away from your focus. So if there's a certain person or individuals that you believe have the right to break your focus, you can select those individuals, turn your focus on, and everybody else goes to voicemail. You don't see any, there's no notifications that'll pop up. You have to take the focus off of the phone for all your notifications to pop up. And I think this is imperative because we living in a life where most people got their cell phone like this and they walking down the street.
You know what I've noticed? I've noticed the older people are worse than the younger people now. I've noticed that. Well, I think what it is the younger people know how to kind of multitask with the cell phone. So they're like bam, 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 and they're doing this, and a third. The older people are like, they're more so getting used to the technology. So they're like bam with it. You know what I mean? Like it's here and they're just, so it's interesting to me because at one point in time it was all about the young people are always in their phone. No, you older folk are in the phone too. And you older folk are in the phone too. Give it a break sometimes, man. Like I said, I kind of noticed, but I didn't notice. And what I ended up doing eventually was I just took the Facebook app off of my I took it off the phone. I was just like, I'm disabled. Why am I going to keep checking back to see if whenever I'm on? It is what it is. And I just happened right before we came on. I happened to look at it, updated to say, well, what's going on? And boom, it shot up. And one thing about it is because I'm back on now, but social media has changed this world. And I mean, it's to the point now where it's just like it is what it is. Like it's changed. And so one of the things I'm proud of about myself is being very, very intentional about when I go on social media. Every now and then I'll get caught up in I'm like, oh, how did I get here? Every now and then. But for the most part, I'm in there like I'm not really consuming the content. I'm trying to see what they're doing. Like I'm like, okay, well, this looks like it works. This looks like it works. Like there's a reason for it. And I'm gonna tell you, if I probably wasn't an entrepreneur and I didn't have a business like the business that I have, I probably wouldn't even be on it. I'm gonna be honest with you. I wouldn't be on Facebook. I definitely wouldn't be on Instagram, and I definitely wouldn't be looking to get into the TikTok world, etc. But it comes with the business. But I'm telling you, people, you have to do that introspection and look at it. Why am I on here? What purpose does it serve? Who am I? What am I looking? If you have a regular 9 to 5, you're not looking to get into business for yourself. If your 9 to 5 is what your focus is on, you probably should just be focused on YouTube, looking up stuff to make yourself better at whatever it is that you do, and Google, and getting rid of Facebook and Instagram. Definitely Instagram. There's no reason for most people to be on Instagram. And I say because at least Facebook they're telling you about birthdays. Facebook is keeping you in contact with friends and family, that type of thing. I can totally understand that. But there's no reason for most people to be on Instagram. You're going to have to, someone has to explain that to me. Especially, I don't want to go down this path, but there's no reason for a bunch of people to go on Instagram. We don't want to see your food. We don't want to see what you cooked today. You're not a chef. You know what I mean? Like you're not. You're not a chef. You're not sharing. You know what I mean? So what's I don't get. I don't want to see you scantily clad, and you're not a model. You're not like what's the point of it? But you know, that's me. That's my thoughts on it. I'm not. I got.
Well, I tell you what, brother. Because I'm not a fan of social media. I keep on forgetting to send you that link. I think it was Gary V. That was talking about. It was talking about something about social media. It was awesome. It's on. As a matter of fact, it's on TikTok. That's where I saw it. But I'm the same way. I would not be on social media. I am on social media for the specific reason of reaching individuals. If they don't like my content, then they can do like what they're doing now on TikTok or wherever. They can just join and then leave. That's okay with me. But if they like the content, then stay. Because the whole thing that we're talking about is being able to deliver a message that will benefit somebody. That's it.
Right.
And this is where people are. This is the medium right now. In the world today, there's a medium, where you're able to access individuals and to broadcast something, whatever it is. And once again, back to modeling, we have an opportunity to broadcast something positive, something negative, or something somewhere in between. So my goal, Mike's goal, is to broadcast something positive and to send out messages of, encouragement as well as knowledge and information so that people can make better choices. I'm not here to brainwash nobody, just here to tell the story of how we got over and how we're getting over and how we're doing better and how we've made it to a successful life and what pathway we took to get here, and this is all free. So you can shut it down anytime you want to, or you can turn it back on. And now that it's being pushed out on YouTube, you can come back to it a year or 2 years from now when, maturity arises in some people and they say, you know what them guys were talking about back then in 2021? That was some real deal stuff. Let me go back and rewind that.
Right. 1000%. So that, and I think we skipped autonomy. Did we?
Yeah. So
that kind of rounds it out. This is the last one.
Yeah, that's for sure. I think I kind of went into autonomy on the TikTok, but I didn't get a chance to on the YouTube with everybody. So if you want to start that off, I want to answer this young lady named Tamara Hall. She wants to get in on the live stream, and she's asking about it right now. So go ahead, brother.
There's a famous Tamara Hall. Isn't that like a anchor or something?
Tell you in just one moment. She's an organizational development strategist, speaker, project implementation specialist. Yeah.
Autonomy is huge.
Yeah.
Autonomy is huge. It's huge, and wow, brother, this is interesting to me. This topic in itself, because essentially it's about you being self-governing, like being able to move based upon, let me give an example, I guess, is that some people, Beethoven said one time, some people have to clock in. Like if you took the clock away from them, if they couldn't clock into a job, they wouldn't do anything, because it's just a part of the way that they're it's a part of the way that they have been brought up. They're nurtured. So there's a lot of people who believe in their mind that they need some type of, whether it's government, or whether it's some type of supervisor, they need someone there to kind of push them in a certain direction. Whereas in order to be a successful entrepreneur, especially initially, you have to come up with these different things. You have to make your own schedule. Let me tell you how many people aren't successful in real estate because they just can't be autonomous. You know, once they're given this what they believe is freedom, essentially it is freedom. You have the freedom to develop your own thing. Like, you don't put a schedule together. You don't push yourself. You don't, that's one of the things I had to work on, was answering the phone all the time. You don't want to answer the phone. You know, if you get, you know, at one point I got so many phone. I asked the Lord one time to give me a lot of phone calls, and he did just that, to the point where I'm just like, I don't want to take no more phone calls. Like, I try to screen phone calls as much as I can. Like, I don't know if I want to pick this up. However, in the business that I am, during working hours, which is key, and it's also key to allow your clients to know this, because one of the things is that we don't communicate. A lot of realtors don't communicate clearly with their clients and give them their expectations. So you need to let the person know, like, listen, between the hours of 8 and 7, you can call me. I would prefer that you texted me, but you can call me or text me, and I will get back to you within 24 hours. Because I may not be able to get back with you right then and there. I may be helping someone else out. More than likely, that's what I'm doing. But because we don't put these expectations out there, they don't know. So you're getting these phone calls, and you don't know. You're wondering why they're always calling you, and you haven't essentially established your work time. So first thing in regards to time, you need to establish a work time, especially if you're an entrepreneur. So you need to open up just like a store opens up. You know how you get mad when you go to a store and they don't open up on time, and you got there early at 9 o'clock, and they said they will open up at 9, but they don't open up the doors until 9:05. Remember how mad you got when that happened? Same thing with you when you're starting a business, not a hustle, not a grind. You have a business. You need to have your work hours, 8 to 5, 8 to 7, 8 to 8. I don't know, however you want to figure it out. You need to have that happening. You need to establish a schedule, and your schedule needs to be consistent, just as if you were going in to clock in at those people's job. And that's one of the conversations I have with a lot of agents that I work with that look for mentorship from me. I say, well, what is your schedule? Oh, well, you know, some days I'm up at 8, some days I'm up at 10. What? Okay, is it Tuesdays and Thursdays you up at 10? Is it Monday, Wednesday, and Friday you up at 8? Oh, well, I really don't know. We gotta. That is why you're coming, or why you're having this conversation with me. Because if you don't know, guess who else doesn't know? Guess who else doesn't want to deal with inconsistent people when they're working on one of the biggest transactions of their lives? Your clients, or your potential clients. And not even potential, because they're not going to be there for much longer. You have to have that. You have to have that fire within yourself in order to make it happen. A lot of people don't know that. One of the things that people have a problem with restaurants is, like, you know, you go to, you know, certain restaurant and they serve fried chicken, but then you go to the window and they say, guess what? We don't have any chicken. You know what I mean? Like, how many times are you going to do that to someone before they say they're not going to come back anymore? You got to have some really, really good fried chicken for them to come back more than one time. I'm going to be quite honest with you.
Right.
Because oftentimes, the first time you do something like that, if it's not the best, they're not coming back. But if it's the best, they'll come back, but they're going to give you about a lot of negative reviews. Like, man, it's real good chicken, but I hate that I have to go through this. I wonder if they're going to have chicken today. You know, whatever, you know, I'm just giving an example of it. But the situation is about having is about definitely about having that happening is to be consistent with what you have going on. I see someone from LinkedIn said consistency is key.
That's beautiful. That goes back to where we're at just a little while ago. Tamara Hall joined in. Hey, Tamara.
Okay, so that must be Tamara Hall talking.
No, she didn't say that. She said, this is so cool. Such a topical matter. And then she mentioned 5 heartbeats. That's her business, and her business are between. Not sure exactly what that last piece means. Tomorrow, maybe you can shoot me another message, and we can figure out what that last piece means. But brother, I like where you're going with that. Because autonomy is huge, right? So autonomy is the right or condition of self-government. So when we've been talking about groundworks, once again, for those of y'all that just got in here, we're talking about groundworks. Hi, whoever that is. And groundworks, when we say groundworks, we're talking about self-awareness, understanding who you are, and being able to link up with somebody else and being able to do whatever it is, whether it's a deep relationship like a marriage, or whether or it could be a friendship, or it could be something like, just working with business partners and project managers and things like that. And all of these different pieces that we've talked about: self-awareness, purpose, acceptance, knowledge, willpower, focus, intentionalism, and, consistency, discipline, dedication, all of these different things, and being conscious and aware. All of these different things boils down to is part of your groundwork. And at the end of the day, this gives you autonomy. You no longer have to be governed by somebody else's ideology, because you now are aware of exactly who you are, what you are capable of, why you do what you do, how to do what you do. All of these things come to play now. You finally have reached this point inside of your life where you are able to access the greatest parts of you. And your passion, now you can actually drive with driving force, because now you are aware. Autonomy releases you from all other, it makes you individual. It grants you individuality. You don't have to be like the other individual anymore. And this is one of the other things that I was discussing. Unfortunately, I went onto the TikTok page because I ended up losing connection. But this is something huge. When we were talking about modeling, uh, you know, autonomy actually gives us this opportunity to now look at individuals that we want to model, and just model the specific pieces that we are looking for, that are necessary in order for us to enhance our greatness. We don't have to get everything. We just get what we need, because we know who we are now. That is the magic and the majesty and the majesticness of being autonomous. Where we are today, Mike and I, where we are today right now, is we are living in a lifestyle of being autonomous. That's it. When I wake up, I call Mike all the time. Sometimes I think, man, I'm rattling this guy's ear, But one day I told him one day, he said, man, brother, I really appreciate you. I said, man, I am your friend. He said, yeah. And I said, listen, when I claim somebody as a friend, I mean it. I mean it. Said, you ain't gonna be able to get rid of me now. And thank God he ain't trying to get rid of me, because I'm telling you, I call him up all the time. Like, Mike, I'm telling you what just happened. Mike, I just got this idea. Mike, this is what I'm about to do right now. Mike, because he's like on my top 3 individuals that I call. He's right there with my mom and with my wife. And then there's Mike.
And there's a point to be said into it, because one of the things that I think the brother and I both have, because I call him as well, and it's because especially when you start to have these first ideals. Let me put up, and it's actually tomorrow that's actually writing these things as LinkedIn user. So tomorrow, I think you need to go to StreamYard and register for whatever reason. I think that's how it works. Because most people I do get to see their name on here. So I'm not sure why yours is not coming up. I have to go look into it. But when you're especially at this grounding phase, people.
That's beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah, that was good words.
Especially at this grounding phase, it's very important to have positive and like-minded people around you, because the ideals that the brother shares and the ideals that I share with Joel as well, they could easily be sniped. And what do you mean, Mike? What do you mean sniped? People, because they can't see it or they don't have that vision and they're not living in the same consciousness as you have, or aligned or going in the same direction, they can't even envision it. Like, a lot of people can't even envision some of the things you're saying. So you telling me that you and Joel are going to go on live on Fridays at 6:30 and do that consistently, and not have 1,000 people watching, not have 100 people watching, not have 50 people watching? Like, you're just going to start doing this? You can get comments like that, and that easily can deter, especially at the beginning stage. A lot of these comments can easily deter you from moving in the direction that you need to go in. God can show you all the signs. People can show you all the signs. You get all these signs. The clock can say 11:11 when you thought of the ideal. The clock can say 2, 3, 4, like whatever it is that there's a sign that's being shown to you, and you waking up and you can feel passionate about it being your purpose. But all it can take is that one word of discouragement that can derail a lot of plans, especially at the beginning. Because although autonomy is nice to have, it's not the easiest thing to have. It's not the easiest thing to be autonomous, because you can easily hit the snooze button on life being autonomous. In real estate tends to be a high margin, high profit. There's a lot of money in real estate. You can give up being great for good. You can say, hey, I can do one deal a day. I mean, one deal a month. For some of you, I can do one deal every 2 months. It'll pay all my bills. So essentially, and there's a lot of realtors like this. They get into the business, they do 6 deals a year, and it keeps them right above, the freight. It keeps them in business. It keeps them able to afford the lifestyle they have, and doing 6 deals a year. And these same people can do 30 deals a year. But because they're not autonomous, because no one's on them, no one's telling them you need to be in the office at 8 o'clock. You need to be making your phone calls at 8, whatever, for however many hours. You need to be sending out emails. You need to talk to your past clients. You need to develop your sphere of influence. You need to get out there and cultivate business. We can easily not do what it is that we're supposed to do because, hey, I made one deal. I'm good for the next 2 months. Or you get so caught up in one deal and not have your processes together, which is, I guess we can go into that with autonomous, not having your processes together, and it actually start to become a grind and a hustle. Because in real estate, you can get caught up in one deal and forget to do your, forget to start cultivating newer clients. You can forget prospecting because, oh man, I got to do this paperwork, and man, I got this inspection. Oh man, I need to make sure the title company is doing what the title company is supposed to be doing. I need to be making sure that my buyer is getting all the information. I need to make sure the lender is doing what the lender is supposed to be doing. When oftentimes all those things come together anyways. You should have your pulse on it. You should have a time for that, but that shouldn't take your entire time. So you should always, as a business owner, you should always have that time, but being autonomous. You need to be prospecting. You need to be cultivating business. You're no longer working for someone. What's the opposite of autonomous? Joe, what's the opposite of autonomous?
The exact word, huh?
It's something. Whatever the opposite of autonomous is, being underneath someone's thumb. How about that? When you're underneath someone's thumb, they're doing all the prospecting. When you're underneath someone's thumb, they're doing that type of stuff. So that's important. What tomorrow says, one deal can wipe out my student loan. Yeah, it can. And you can get to thinking about it. So it's important that it can. It's a very high profit business if you're doing it right, and you can make a lot of money. You can change your whole life in 3 to 6 months. You know, you can change your whole life in 3 to 6 months. I think I got the brother in the spell.
Nah. I'm looking up that word for you,
The
brother.
word for
Yeah, I
the
think I
opposite
found it right here. All right, it's called hetat. Yeah, man, now I gotta say it.
You just want to you copy and paste it and put it in the chat.
Heteronomy.
Well,
Yeah.
I probably won't be using that word.
Yeah. But I mean, basically, it's just a subjection to something else.
Right.
You
So
know,
being
autonomy
dependent.
is basically we're getting to freedom.
Right. So
it's
being
the absence
dependent.
of
You're being
freedom.
dependent. You're being dependent on someone bringing you stuff.
Yeah,
And you
heteronomy.
right. So that is going to have a cap to it. And so that's what makes being independent so much. It's tougher. It's tougher to be autonomous. But
Well, we're also groomed to not be autonomous.
Right.
You know, just as children, when we go to school, we're always groomed to become somebody's employee. We're
Right.
always
That's
groomed to be dependent on somebody. You go to school, you know, get your education, get a good job, you know, and then they'll give you benefits. You work for them. You know, I think that was Kawasaki that put it out there so point blankish, and I think he was right in that he said that part right there. You know, but the whole point is that, you know, we're kind of groomed that way. I was groomed that way, you know. That's how my mother groomed me. You know, and my mother is an entrepreneur right now. She does well, and you know, she goes out there and she makes her own schedule. You know, if she feels that she can do her work from home, she doesn't go into work. And if she feels like the other employees can do their work from home, she gives them that option so they can have a level of autonomy even there, you know, inside of the workplace. So autonomy can be, like you were mentioning, one of those things that can be a crutch as well if the mindset isn't developed well. And I believe this is the reason, or I shouldn't say I believe, but this is the reason why autonomy came towards the end of this list of those things to do. You know, autonomy and being consciously aware, or being present in the actual in whatever it is that you're doing. I think those two things are only fully should only be fully capitalized on towards the end of all of these growth matters. You know, if you try to be autonomous in the beginning, but you're modeling something that is
right.
That's negative, or that will cause you to fail consistently, you may end up being that one individual who just decides, I'm just going to hit that snooze button because nobody controls me. You know, I'm just not going to show up at work on time because nobody controls me. I'm just not, and you're just not making yourself successful.
Yeah.
Every single step of the way, because you're choosing it. And so it's great because you've realized that you can freely walk on this earth and do whatever it is that you desire to do. But because of the choices that you've made, you're unable to be successful. And nobody in this business world wants to be with somebody who's not going to be able to hold up the part of the bargain, you know, because at a certain point in time, autonomy, you know, when you enter into a relationship, say you're entering into a business relationship, and you want to, and somebody is agreeing to something with you, you're supposed to be there at a specific time, and you decide you just don't want to show up at that time because you don't like that time. Well, you've made that agreement. And now at this point in time, when you decide to show up, that company no longer wants you to be there. They don't need you anymore because you can't keep your word. You know, so autonomy can come with some ramifications that can be detrimental to relationships if it's being used incorrectly. You know, and that's why we gave all of these other things that preceded autonomy, because what we're doing is we want to build on this positive, fruitful foundation. You know, in the very beginning, we're dropping seeds but before we drop seeds, we want to, like you said, cultivate the grounds. And so before we try to go and cultivate the business, you need to cultivate yourself.
Yep.
You know, And then once you cultivate yourself, you will be so much better at whatever you are doing. It won't matter what you're doing. And that is the bottom line of what we're getting to right here. The whole purpose behind this is before you bridge that gap and make that relationship, whether it's marriage, whether it is a business, whether you're becoming an entrepreneur, whether you're cooking hot dogs or flipping hamburgers, whether you're, like you said last week, whether you're taking out the garbage, you're a garbage man. I don't care what it is that you're doing. It doesn't matter. If you aren't yourself cultivated, then whatever you do will not be as great as it possibly could be. It doesn't matter what you're doing because you have not taken the time to perfect yourself. And I'm not saying that you can't go out there and begin to work in this avenue. You should. It's good to get out there and do these things, but you need to be cultivating yourself the entire time. This is a growing process. We are always growing, no matter what. No matter what, we're always growing. So keep cultivating. And when you really feel like you've become autonomous, then do something good with it. You know, I guess a better word that I would use every day for the opposite of autonomy would be dependency.
Yeah.
You can lose you don't need dependency. You can become independent, because basically what autonomy is being independent.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man. Awesome. Brother's right. You're either growing or you're dying, man. I think this was time well spent. I think it was time well spent. I want to give a big much love to all that joined us live. Tomorrow Hall. Like, listen, you guys are our breath. We are now rest assured, the brother and I can sit back and talk to each other for hours at a clip. But we want to make sure that we're reaching what I think, anyways, is the 5% that actually want this information and want to head in this direction, and eventually, at the end of the day, become autonomous. And let's get it straight. That it's not saying that you need to go out and start your own business. I'm not saying that. But at some point in time in life, you want to become autonomous. You want to have the freedom to do what it is that you want to do. You want to have the freedom. And if you're doing these things, I'm not going to go into a deep rant into it, but if you do this cultivation of things, anybody is going to want you.
Yes.
So the more value that you provide, the more that you get better at becoming yourself and understanding yourself and knowing what it is that you do, you can go anywhere. You don't have to necessarily go start your own business, but just know that there's going to be businesses coming after you.
Yes.
So now you get your picks and choose, and that's all we're talking. We're talking about freedom of options.
Yes.
So if this person doesn't like you, if these people aren't treating you to how you feel you need to be treated, you'll know that, okay, cool, I'm gonna take myself out of this situation, and I know I have a bunch of different offers available to me. Whether that's corporate, whether that's government, whatever it is, people, you're going to be sought after and that's what you want to be. You want to be sought after, whether you're an entrepreneur in business or you're an employee. You want to be sought after. You want people to want you. You want people to understand your value and pay you for it. And then when you go into whatever it is you're doing, you get your picks and chooses. You know what I mean? That's essentially what it's all about. This is not saying, hey, you need to quit your day job. Some of you are very good at what you do. Whatever, you're good at flipping burgers, you're good at doing the track, whatever it is that you're doing, you're very, very good at it. And we need everybody to do everything. But we wanted you to know that we just want you to create better options. Be the best at what you are. And that starts with, like the brother said, cultivating your grounds, cultivating yourself. Because once again, you're either growing or you're dying. There's no such thing as just staying the same. People are either growing or they're dying. You know what I mean? And then we just want you all to grow with us, man. Love it. Love it. Love it. Excellent show, man. Excellent. Thanks again, Tamara. Thanks for all those that did check in. I don't know, brother. What else you got? What say you? The motivator.
Let's do it, man.
Yeah.
We're ready, And then, this was Groundworks Part 2. Listen, I want to say this, like Tamara Hall got in there And then we had some other people like, your cousin got in there, Ty got in there before, Luke got in there, listen, y'all, let us know if you want to get on one of these shows. We're definitely ready. We're definitely ready to entertain that. Let us know if you want to get in on one of these shows. Throw it inside the chat and everything. Or hit
DM
us up.
Yeah, DM us, email us. Of course, you can find me, Michael Seville. I'm back on Facebook, y'all. But I would appreciate it if you went and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Subscribe to the YouTube. YouTube is not kicking me off like Facebook wants to kick me off every now and then. So start subscribing to the YouTube channel. I am on YouTube. I just started up my TikTok. It's Real Estate Pops. Go ahead and follow me on there. Definitely gonna start putting some more information out there, and just moving in that direction, brother. What about you? What say you? Tell them how to get to you.
Yeah, so right now for YouTube, you're just going to be able to hit me up with Joel Simmons, but it will be changing. I should be changing that. When I change that, that's going to go ahead and it's going to go to. I'm looking at this screen, man. It's messing with me, messing with my head right now. It shows you I'm still talking. All right. So anyway, the YouTube, it says it's Joel Simmons. Look me up there. It is going to be changed to Tenacity Foundation. As you can see right there, Tenacity Foundation. So it's going to be changed to that real soon. And then you can also look me up on TikTok at The Motivatorpreneur. All right. That's MOTIVATORPRENEUR. Motivatorpreneur. So you can look me up there. You can also hit me up by email. It's joel@tenacityfoundation.com. joel@tenacityfoundation.com. All right. And I'd love to be able to speak with y'all. Hit me up. We'll set a calendar date and talk then. Anyway, much love out there.
Much love, people. Till next time.
All right.